Hey guys, I'm getting over a little cold. I just needed to record this video even though I wasn't feeling 100% because it's kind of the perfect time to do it because today's topic is all about being whole with where you're at, even if you feel like it's imperfect or not your best or whatever. You have to understand that you are the perfect version of you right now. There's nothing you need to do or be or whatever other than what you're doing and who you're being to be the perfect version of you. And that being perfectly what the world and the collective needs from you. You are doing you perfectly. We need to start trusting ourselves. We need to start believing in ourselves to be our own biggest fan. That's where we need to start. That's where we just need to start today. This week for me was kind of challenging. So I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, and I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about how you stop self-sabotaging even when your week is challenging, even when your day is challenging, whatever it is, even when the hour is challenging, like how not to make that send you into a complete spiral. It's very common that in the manifesting world and all of that we feel guilty when we're not holding the identity of whatever we are wanting to call imperfectly, or we're having an off day or something happens and kind of throws us off. And I just need to emphasize that there's nothing wrong with that, and that's actually perfect. Like, that's perfect. You're still manifesting, you're not missing out, you're not ruining anything. You've got this. It's still perfect. Don't buy into the lie that you aren't already who you need to be. I know what it feels like to be sad and overwhelmed and frustrated and just like feel like you're just done, like nothing's working, whatever I'm doing, like this is enough. But I also know how it feels to get stuck in that for a really, really long time. And I know what it feels like to now not let myself get stuck in that or let it mean anything about me. It's all about the story that I am telling about myself, like about what the emotions or the situation means about me. I always wasn't on my own side. Like I would have something happen or I would be in a bad mood and I would blame it all on myself, and I would get so down so easily and be stuck there for days, weeks, a long time. You've got to stop thinking that the problem is you. The solution is you. We've got to love ourselves so much that the natural inclination we have when we're having these moments of this is really hard, this feels really heavy, we've got to become really good at being our own best friends and full of love, unconditional love for ourselves, that it doesn't become this monster that grows with guilt and shame inside of us. You have to see the perfection in what you are. You have to see the perfection in the bad mood. You have to see the perfection in the anger. You have to see the perfection in the sadness. You have to see the perfection in the grief. Because without any of those things, we wouldn't have the complete opposite. Like joy, we wouldn't have the love. There is so much perfection in what we deem imperfect that we don't often give credit to. Your perfection when you haven't manifested that thing yet. Your perfection when you didn't do the dishes today. Your perfection when your kid was freaking out all day and you weren't in a good mood. Your perfection when you fell back into old patterns. If you can't love yourself there when you're at the challenging or negative emotions, you are not going to be able to love yourself at the other side of the spectrum either. Love transforms, joy transforms, excitement transforms. These all have an underlying foundation of trust that they are built on. And when you think of like shame and guilt and just all the negative things and self-talk that you fill yourself up with, those all have fear as their foundation. And you're afraid you're not good enough. You're afraid you're messing it up. You're afraid that you won't be accepted. When you are feeling love and joy and acceptance for yourself, even in the emotions of sadness, you are putting a trust layer into there which completely transforms the thing. You can't transform your negative emotions or your challenging experiences with more shame. Shame plus shame does not equal anything other than shame. Guilt plus guilt does not equal anything other than guilt. You will stay there. But if you offer that guilt, love, acceptance, this is like the most basic stuff, but it's so easy to forget in the moment. We always judge ourselves. We always take it too hard on ourselves when we're feeling stressed out or heavy, and it's the simplest thing that we need to do is just offer that part of ourselves space and room to be felt and loved. Because when you offer love and acceptance and peace to the guilt, the shame, the fear, that's when it can transform into something else, because you're adding something new to the equation. Like I said, shame plus shame doesn't equal anything other than shame, but shame plus love, guilt plus acceptance, that adds something new. So you can get a new emotion, you can move out of it, you can transform it into something else. We're not a problem to be fixed. We are perfect as we already are. There is nothing to fix about how you feel. There's only more love and more joy to give yourself in those moments. More acceptance. That's it. When we believe that there's something that we need to fix about how we feel or how we are, what's coming up in our bodies, when we're judging that, that's when we feel bad about ourselves and we project that onto the world. And then we feel bad about the world and we feel bad about other people and we make other people feel bad. Not maliciously, but that's just what happens because we believe that there's something wrong with us, and there's not. The belief that there's something that we need to fix is at the root of so many issues. We are already whole, perfectly, already. It's done. There's nothing else to do in that arena. We are already worthy. We are already naturally gifted with abilities and things that we need to share in the world and give and contribute, and also completely worthy to receive all that we need. We are all so gifted in a trillion different unique ways, and that's amazing. Stop listening to any voice that tells you that you have to try really hard to be yourself, to trust yourself. Don't listen to any voice that tells you you can't trust your body's wisdom and your emotions and your feelings. You don't have to trust the story that you make up about those emotions or those feelings. That's a completely different thing. But the emotions themselves and the experience of those emotions are not negative or wrong. You are not wrong for having a human experience. Don't listen to any voice that tells you you're hard to love with all your complexities. If no one is giving you the unconditional love for all of you and space for all of that, you be the one to give that to yourself. Every moment you can remember that. That's the most important thing to remember. And keep remembering it over and over and over and over until it becomes your second nature, to give yourself so much love and remembrance that you are already whole. Validate yourself, validate your feelings. It makes sense that I'm feeling this way. It makes sense that I'm not having the best day. It makes sense that whatever it is, they're just giving you information. The emotions, the experience is just information for you. It's not to be judged and analyzed to no end. You don't have to believe that something is wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. That is what is right with you. Allow yourself to just unfold into who you've already always been, which is limitless potential and possibility. I'm going to pull up a chart, and this will kind of show what I was talking about earlier with you can't change shame and guilt with shame and guilt. It shows the different levels of frequency that we emit off. At the bottom, we have obviously shame, guilt, we have apathy, and those are all constrictive. If you think of them, they constrict you. What does something need when it feels constricted? It needs space, it needs acceptance, it needs room to transform. They don't transform by pretending that they don't exist, by ignoring them. the thing is, the huge key is you have to feel them. You have to accept that they are a part of you in that moment. You don't have to tell a story about it. Stop making it mean anything about you. It's not a story. It's just what is. That makes it, you can transform it like that. When you start judging, analyzing, all of that, you keep it stuck there and it feels really heavy. When I was having one of my really trying days this week, I was trying so hard to shame myself out of my mood, and it wasn't working, obviously. You know what did work though? When I went in my room and I let myself just be alone and cry for like an hour and a half. And I wasn't sad. I'm not saying you need to go cry for an hour and a half. I'm saying that my body was trying to tell me something about what I was feeling, what I was experiencing. I needed to validate my experience. I needed to give myself space. I needed to give myself love and acceptance for all of those emotions. I wasn't ruining anything by being in a bad mood, except for I was prolonging how long I was gonna feel that way by trying to make it go away. So it's so ironic because we think that the things we feel and the worries and the anxieties and the stress and the loneliness or whatever is going to go away if we ignore it, and it just doesn't. It's trying to tell us something. And there wasn't any story that I had to make about why I was in this bad mood or what it meant about me. All I had to do was just sit with it and let it be, and then it's so easily was gone because I had transformed it with my own care, my own trust, my own love and acceptance and space. Also, a huge part of that was that I had to say, this makes sense that you're feeling this way, and that's okay, and just feel it. And you are still doing, I told myself this, you are still doing a very good job, a perfect job, even though you feel like this, even though you're having a hard time, you are doing it perfectly. Because even if I could have done it better, I could have been in a better mood, whatever it was, I could have reacted better in a situation, I'm not going to react better next time by shaming myself this time. The only way that's going to change is offering unconditional love. Honesty and authenticity, I believe, have, if not more power than even love and joy, because they are honest. It's a true frequency. It's honest. There's no taste of fear or shame because it's true. It's just the truth. Your body is so wise. You are already so wise. You have everything that you need. You need to learn to validate yourself and to love yourself in the moments where you don't feel like it the most, or the moments when you feel like you least deserve it. All of this to say, even when you feel like you've messed it up or you can't figure it out, the key is that you are still perfection. You can be in a bad mood and still be attracting money to you. You can be in a bad mood and still be worthy of infinite love. You can be in a bad mood and still be connected to source or the universe or whatever. Don't close yourself off because you think you don't deserve it. If you feel closed off, it's because you are closing yourself off. No other reason. Not because of anything you did or didn't do or didn't do well enough. It's because you believe you didn't do well enough. Just believe and trust and really, really get into that understanding that you are already whole, no matter what. You don't have to invalidate your feelings to be high vibe and attractive. Yes, reality reflects us and yourself. Yes, enjoying life is the blueprint. It is the point. Yes, being happier will attract more happiness, but you won't be able to see any of that or experience any of that if you're expecting yourself to be perfect to get there, because that is impossible. You have to understand that it is already perfect. You are already perfect, because then there's nowhere to go. Then you allow yourself to have more joy, to have more happiness, to attract whatever you want, because you believe that you already are there. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing to change. All you have to do then is to be yourself. So just because you're not seeing the results of, I'm not attracting what I want, blah, 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 I'm doing all these things, it's not because you're doing it wrong. It's just because you think that you are doing it wrong, because you think you have to do it perfect, and you don't. Throw joy at your fear. Throw love at your fear. Throw humor at whatever you're experiencing and see what happens. You have to add something new to the formula. You have to add something new. You're bringing the magic of yourself down into other parts of yourself that you think are wrong, but they are not wrong. In conclusion, if you stay on any side that doesn't include you, or a side that isn't your own, you will get stuck and you will self-sabotage. If you make yourself the problem, you will be the problem. Do not make yourself the problem. You are not the problem. You are the solution. Bring the most insane amount of love you can imagine to yourself all the time, at every moment, to every party you join, and you will always be magnetic. Always. Because you are being true to what you are, which is perfect already. Because you have your own back, and when you have your own back, you know you have your own back. You know what it feels like to have your own back. No one can take that away from you. Nothing can take that away. Before I go, I want to talk about beliefs that you have and how to recognize them and shift them in the moment. So there's 3 questions I need you to ask yourself this week, this day, this month, this year, for an eternity. These are the questions, and I think these are the only questions you're ever gonna have to ask yourself about anything, and it will always give you the answer. Does this bring me closer to my limitlessness? Does this help me remember my limitlessness? Does this take me closer to the biggest love and joy and excitement that I could possibly imagine? Can I love myself and others unrestricted here? Does this belief, does this place, does this person, does this whatever it is support my unrestricted love for myself? If the answer is no to any of these, the answer is no. Anything that brings me shame and guilt and fear, I know that it's not truth for me. Anything that frees me to love bigger, anything that frees me to enjoy bigger, it's a yes. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear in the comments, or message me on any of my socials. Tell me about experiences or thoughts you have around this topic. I love you all. I hope this inspires you to love yourself as deeply as you can and be as free as possible. See you soon.